FRSC and new number plates, response from the National Assembly. Mr. Jiti Ogunye joins us now. He's also a legal practitioner. Thank you for coming on today.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to be here.
I know you might have also heard when Mr. Sherman read out that provision of Federal Road Safety Commission's Establishment Act 2007, where he also says, Section 10, subsection Section 10, 3, then let me read this one, which
Section 10, subsection 3, paragraph D and F.
E, D, F, but E also, preceding F. E was determining from time to time the requirements to be satisfied by applicants, of course, that's, but yes, go ahead, and that's
D and
those
F
provisions.
Section 5,
of the same
paragraph G. Section 5, paragraph G, and Section 10, subsection 3, paragraph D and F. Those are the sections. But these sections are a nullity because they are in conflict with the provision of the Constitution. That's why we've argued here and elsewhere that the power purportedly donated to the Commission by the National Assembly is a nullity. Look, the argument is this simple. The National Assembly does not have untrammeled powers to legislate anyhow. It has to legislate in accordance with the provisions of the exclusive legislative list, and in certain areas the concurrent powers that it possesses. Now, under the exclusive legislative list contained in Part 1 of the second schedule of the Constitution, item 63, the National Assembly has power to legislate on traffic on federal trunk A road. It was that power that made the National Assembly to establish the FRSC and defines its functions, powers, and so on and so forth. Now, while exercising that power, if there was any attempt to then enlarge the functions of the Federal Road Safety Commission to then include things that cannot be subsumed under that item or under the omnibus item of item 68 and 69, which say that, well, the Federal National Assembly can legislate on all other matters, relating to the specific matters listed in the list. This is what regarded as the omnibus powers of the National Assembly to legislate. So once you cannot subsume any act under that, it's a nullity, and that's why we went to court to invite the court.
Okay.
Use your blue pencil rule and nullify these deleterious provisions. And the court said, no, you are just one out of 167 million Nigerians. You have no locus standi. Okay? And so, if I do not have locus standi, and in this country there is no Attorney General of the Federation or Attorney General of the state that has come out to say, court, the action of the government of which I am a part infringes on the right of the people, I'm inviting you to nullify that act, then why will you say that a Nigerian who has a vehicle and who has a license issued to him and who is to be penalized before 31st of August 2012 to surrender his number plate and then surrender his license, which has not expired, in the name of reissuing this, does not have the local standing? But that's an aside. So the argument is that simple, and when you're dealing with this, you have to deal with it within the context of the history of the FRSC. The FRSC was established by a military decree first in 1988, and later that decree was amended in 1992. The pioneer chairman, of course we know, was Professor Wole Soyinka. Now, when that decree was promulgated, even by the military, the FRSC was not saddled with the function to design, produce, and issue driver's license and vehicle number plate. No! It was only in 2007
and was amended
that, look at that act, it says, an act to repeal the old act and reenact. It was only in 2007 that the National Assembly hurriedly, just before the election, just before the year of that legislative year.
That's not the military.
Yes, enacted that and smuggled that power into it. That act was signed into law by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, 4 days before May 29. And that's why that decree, that law is contained in the Gazette after that time, July 13. It was released in July 13, 2007.
Okay,
so the point I'm making is that now the National Assembly, 2 houses of the National Assembly, House of Representatives first last year and thereafter this year. It's not only the Senate. That day, the 2 houses in unison say, stop what you are doing. And so, for me, what has now emerged is that in this country, there is a unanimity of opinion in the public. And I can be citing editorials upon editorials to you.
To what extent can the National Assembly say that if they don't go ahead and do something about this act?
They've ordered a public hearing.
About that matter?
Yes. And only yesterday, another editorial in the Punch says, reform the FRSC Act now and let it concentrate on its core functions. So if the National Assembly is now saying, we made an error, or an error was made on our behalf years back by that National Assembly, and they want to correct that error now. So why are we belly aching about that?
Yeah, but to the extent that if they say, okay, we want to amend it, no problem, it's within their jurisdiction.
Yes.
They put in place the process, they're working on that, and then they they advise the executive arm of government, FRSC, stop this, because of course the procedure is that you have to write the executive arm of government, who will in turn direct or advise the FRSC.
No, that's not the procedure. That's not the procedure.
No, that's not
the procedure.
So if they make that pronouncement, is the FRSC supposed to stop it immediately?
Exactly, and the FRSC has publicly said that it will abide by that resolution after initially thinking that it had the power not to do so.
What we thought we heard him say was, well, the government has got to notify the commission. The commission acts based on the executive
pronouncement. The second or third day, in the Punch and other newspapers, the commercial said, we will abide by the resolution of the National Assembly. So if he's now revising that initial position, Nigerians must ask him why. In any case, FRSC is an agency of government. The National Assembly is an arm of government.
Yeah, so, but not the executive.
So the same people, for instance, Mr. Ogunye, a moment, let's tie this in. And the same people, the National Assembly, they said they were protecting the public. Now you have put a stop to all of this, even though it's still there in the law, even though it's smuggled, in your own words. What about the man who is still waiting to get his number plate? He has his vehicle. He cannot even drive his car without any number plate because this thing is in a logjam.
You want me to answer? I answered the last time I was here. Let him wait. The problem with Nigerians is that we want quick fix solutions, and then we mess ourselves up, and then we come back and say that who is going to save us? We're not ready to do anything. We're not willing to make any sacrifice to make things right, and that's the bane. Of public conduct in this country.
That will be one. I mean, in recent times, maybe with police checkpoints off the road now, even though we hear reports of them coming back, with police checkpoints off the road, it might make plenty of sense, to go with your car without any number plates on it, because nobody's going to harass you. But be that as it may, we're also living in perilous times where people's cars are being used, and they cannot trace the cars that are being used in bombings and what have you. It's a major security threat. And the reason why the FRSC came up with this in the very first instance was so we could have a database, according to them, where we could source numbers. I mean, does it not matter that something as grave as security is in the mix here and we're being asked to wait?
Security is just being cited as an excuse to force this down the throat of Nigeria. It has nothing to do with security. It has everything to do with revenue generation. Let me tell you, when you talk about the Joint Tax Board coming to endorse what the FRSC is doing on behalf of the state, it's about revenue. If it's about security, it will be the police, the SSS, that will endorse this. It is all about revenue. It has nothing to do with security. In any case, the FRSC is not the body that is empowered by law to provide security for Nigerians.
Agreed.
Relatedly, the FRSC is not even the body established by law to generate biometric identity data of Nigeria. It's the National Identity Management Commission. Further, the FRSC is even violating extant law by purporting to generate this data. Why? Because Section 30, Paragraph E of the police regulations made pursuant to the Police Act, Cap P19, Law of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, says that the vehicle traffic statistics shall be domiciled with the police. That's why the police are... Yes!
Doesn't mean FRSC can't generate and hand over.
That's why you have the police having a central motor registry still running, so that even when you register your vehicle, the copy of the registration, a copy of it, like a yellow or pink form like this, will be given to the police, so that if there's a car theft, you have recourse to the police, who would then
the commercial did answer that, yes. And what they do is that they generate these numbers and they give it to the states and others.
The FRSC does not have the constitutional power. I've just
to even generate it. Agreed. Okay, that's what you say.
But under the constitution,
yes,
these things we're talking about, license, vehicle registration number, are road taxes, and this category of road taxes are collectible revenues from the state. You know why the states are not agitated now? Because they've colluded with the FRSC to slash the fees.
Really?
Yes!
Mr. Ogunye,
do they have the capacity?
Just a moment. It is the same irresponsibility that was demonstrated by the state when we are talking about fuel subsidy. The federal government will take the blame, the state will take part of the money. That's why they are not defending the people.
Okay,
and that's why they are.
But the JTB is not FRSC, so the FRSC is not making money with. It's not touching the money.
The JTB is a body comprising the Commissioner of Finance of the states.
So FRSC is not taking any money because, for instance, maybe Makwe, I'm so sorry.
FRSC is taking money. No, they are not.
I went to FRSC maybe to try to do your license. You do everything, and even everything that is captured, you don't pay a dime to FRSC.
That's not true.
You still go to the bank.
I said that's not true.
With the JTB logo there.
That's not true. They have a revenue sharing formula, and that's what doesn't make any sense for a federal government agency, as has been articulated by the panelist that came in before here, that the FRSC, designs, it produces because it's Father Christmas, and then it sells and then hand over the money to the state. Doesn't make any sense.
Mr. Ogunye, you are convinced that security has nothing to do with this. But I also remember that it was this same National Assembly during the fuel subsidy probe that invited the FRSC to come and give its statistics. It was most embarrassing that we do not have statistics of cars on our roads. And the FRSC co-marshal, I remember him saying that in other countries, all you have to do is go to a database. There is no such existing database in this country of cars on our roads and anything at all. Is it not shameful?
It may be shameful, and I agree, but the FRSC is not the body constitutionally empowered to maintain that database.